Am I the asshole? For using a fake test to expose my colorblind brother in front of friends and family? So, I F17 have a brother M15 who claims he's colorblind. When he was younger, all his paintings and drawings seemed normal. The whole colorblind claim started after he turned 10, all because of a light pink t-shirt he perceived as white. My parents joked about him being colorblind since my uncle my dad's brother is. He continued this claim, constantly mentioning it to others, which has always annoyed me because I'm sure he's lying. I've told my parents, but they brush me off, saying I'm just jealous of the attention he gets. Last week was my birthday. I had a gathering at home with about 25-30 people on the weekend. The topic of his supposed color blindness came up again, with everyone asking him to identify colors. I, feeling frustrated, asked him to take an Ishihara test on the TV. He agreed after some hesitation. I went up to my room to grab my computer to plug to the TV. But instead of a genuine test, I used a fake Ishihara test, one that anyone could pass. He pretended not to see some numbers, and once the test concluded, I revealed to everyone that it was a fake test, aiming to show he was lying. The mood turned sour. My brother and parents were furious. My family tried to brush it off, making jokes, and my friends found it amusing. Post-party, my parents were livid. They labeled me as an attention seeker and a jealous asshole and grounded me for embarrassing my brother. I feel like had he been honest, he wouldn't have been humiliated. So, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Being colorblind myself, it's annoying for someone to fake it. It's a disability. It screws with reading resistors, so no elec. Heng and other qualifications, flying, no naval aviation. Creates challenges on coordinating clothing. Roommates got used to the questions, it flummoxed their girlfriends. So annoying to explain. Don't need the fakers. Buy him hot pink pants and a pink t-shirt and ask him to wear it and go to school. Tell him it's blue and black or something. When he refuses to wear it, ask him why the colors are nice. Not the asshole. Your brother's long con got exposed and your parents appeared stupid in front of the family for going along falling for his lies, which is why they are angry. It's not your fault if they didn't stop his BS when you were telling them about it. Not the asshole. Do your parents usually favor your brother? You're the attention seeker? I know a few colorblind people. I can't remember it ever being the topic of conversation unless it was totally relevant to something we were doing that was impacted by their condition. Also, the people I know have learned to identify most colors by the shades they see, even if it's not what we see. Not the asshole. Your parents are just wrong. Not the asshole. Lol. I wish I was there to see it. But why didn't your parents took him to an ophthalmologist when he claimed he was colorblind? Not the asshole. Your brother was lying about having a disability. Not the asshole. Liars deserve to be called out and you didn't embarrass him, he did that to himself. Not the asshole. For people who are hand-waving this, he's been doing it for 5 years. He's old enough to know better and to know that lying is wrong. Your parents not looking into it and seemingly being dismissive is troubling. Not the asshole. Sounds like he wore a pink shirt and regretted it or felt embarrassed so claimed his was colorblind. Then it all got out of control. He is playing the long con for sure. Doesn't seem worth the effort. Not the asshole. Colorblindness is X-related, so it doesn't matter that your dad's bro is colorblind. It's kinda ridiculous for this lie to last for so long. I get why you'd grow tired of it. Not the asshole. Faking a disability, seeking attention for years, normal behavior. Exposing your brother for lying, constantly attention seeking, get grounded. I'm sorry, but your parents' logic is fucking dead. To me it seems that your parents have a favorite, and it's not you. Not the asshole. Your brother is the attention seeker, your parents are enabling his ridiculous behavior. Not the asshole. I did read most of the comments, so I kinda copied past my answer to one. The real are the parents who rolled with it without actually parenting, taking care of your child in a medical way by bringing your child to a doctor to assess its vision. Being colorblind is not a joke, as it can bring real trouble. It should have been assessed and certified by a doctor way sooner. So not the asshole, as it was not your job to do so. Not the asshole. You need to have a serious conversation with your parents. They are not supporting him, they are enabling him, but what you said in other comments, he constantly lies about other stuff and get away with it because your parents are blind. They are not doing him any favors, they are letting him become a pathological liar. You're the attention seeker when your brother was faking colorblindness for attention? Not the asshole. How do fake colorblind tests work? Info? I don't understand why you used a fake test instead of a real one. If it were a real one, whether he was or wasn't colorblind would have come out. He wouldn't know what to say to be discerned as colorblind or not, the test would just do its job. If he lies about what he's seeing, the test would be inconclusive. Which also just shows he's lying. The fact that you don't care about the truth, but only want to find a way to humiliate him and gain attention yourself, means you're the asshole. Your parents are the real R's here. Why don't they want to find out for sure and get him the support he needs? If he needs it. Not the asshole. He's more than old enough to know that lying about having a disability is shitty, and since your family was enabling him, only something drastic would work. Could you have been nicer? Sure. But he's been actively scamming people for years with no remorse, so he deserves it. Not the asshole. You did him a future favor. The longer he keeps lying about having a medical disability, the more likely he was to eventually have gotten busted for it. Like when it really matters, and wasn't so funny if he were an adult and got busted lying about that, by a colorblind coworker or boss, he could be fired. You did him a future favor, ending that lie he couldn't stop auto-repeating for attention, for him. I'm almost 50 with 4 kids. Your parents should be laughing and thanking you, not grounding you. Show them our messages and happy B-Day. Not the asshole. It's reasonable to expose public lies. For the people who are saying you humiliated him? Good. You did him a favor. A little shame over stuff like lying or bragging about things that don't matter instead of real results makes people better people. Info: why haven't your parents taken him to be tested for colorblindness? There are several types. Yes, generally trying to humiliate your family in a social setting is a behavior. Not sounds like you found the golden child. Oh, how I don't miss being a teenager. You're the arsehole, but I feel like this arsehole moment was totally worth it. Him lying about it is surely annoying, and your parents accusing you of being jealous is aggravating. But you didn't need to humiliate him in front of all those people. You could have just had him take a fake test in front of only your parents. You also went out of your way to ruin an event that 25-30 people showed up to. I'm guessing your parents spent some money on this event too. I would be pretty pissed if my kid pulled something like this on a big event that took a chunk out of my wallet. Next time, don't publicly humiliate people. It never feels good. I don't see how calling him out in front of other people was necessary. Do this fake test with only your parents present would suffice. Choosing to do this in front of 20 people seems very spiteful. Info: I guess I'm confused about what attention he was getting for being colorblind. There are literally over 300 million people who are colorblind in the world. It's pretty common and isn't a disability. You're the asshole. Did you do it with the intent of embarrassing your brother in front of people? And what kind of person does that? A nice person? You're the asshole. Colorblindness isn't the issue. You intentionally embarrassed and humiliated your brother in front of a large group of people. It was a shitty thing to do. You're the asshole. Petty and bratty. You probably ruined your relationship with your brother forever for pulling this unnecessary, immature stunt when it's likely a behavior he would have stopped as he matured. I hope it was worth it.
Am I the asshole? For leaving my own wedding early? So I and my husband just got married a week ago. We were having a good wedding until the speeches happened. Now I thought it was common sense to not do this. But during the best man's speech he decided to propose to his girlfriend. She said yes and all hell broke loose. From that point on, no one paid attention to me or my husband nor paid attention to the event times. People starting eating early. The speeches were cut short after he proposed. On top of that he got the DJ to play him and his girlfriend their song, which incited a whole bunch of couples to do the same. For about 3 hours it was just couples running to the DJ to play their song and hogging the dance floor. When me and my husband finally got a chance to dance, people were too exhausted and didn't pay attention. They instead went to eat. After several hours of this, I told my husband I didn't really want to be here anymore. And he agreed. We ended up leaving. The only person we said goodbye to was our parents. Nobody even noticed we had left. Now here's the problem. 3 days after the wedding, a cousin of mine had asked me when did I leave my wedding. As she never got to say goodbye, I told her we left early because nobody was paying attention nor cared enough to. She said okay and hanged up. Now we've been getting calls from all our relatives telling us we're immature and need to lighten up. That we should be happy our wedding made people this romantic. So am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Send the best man a bill for half the cost of his engagement party. Not the asshole. And when the best man gets married, I hope you and your husband steal that moment to tell the audience how great your marriage is. Wait, they have delayed anger that you left early because sure as shit they didn't notice on the night. Yeah, that's a hell no from me. Not the asshole. I would fuck up that guy who derailed your wedding. All of the wedding guests ignored you and your husband during your own wedding after the best man proposed, which already is a bad thing right there. Super disrespectful to do that. Then everyone who ignored you two calling both of you a few days later to say you two are being selfish. Like it seems like those people calling you two selfish don't seem to know the meaning of that word. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It was incredible rude to propone at another's wedding because this is exactly what happens. Your wedding gets hijacked. They got a free engagement party. Which is terrible. I'm sorry your special day was ruined. Not the asshole. It is quite clear that your wedding is supposed to be about your couple. It's celebrating your love. Not everyone. Proposing to someone at someone else's wedding is odd behavior. Why would you steal the attention of the couple? Plus playing their song. You have every right to be pissed off. I hope you can still celebrate somehow at a smaller occasion. And if I were you, I would tell the dude that it was inappropriate. Congratulations anyway. What kind of wedding DJ doesn't have a list of approved songs or at least knows to check with the people paying them or doesn't listen to you when you say to cut it out? For several hours? I've never heard of such a thing. Hope your makeup small ceremony is lovely. Not the asshole. What a selfish best man. I haven't got a clue why people are this dense. Or what goes on in their tiny minds to suggest this is acceptable. And then to play their goddamn song? Again. Not the asshole at all. You deserve the night you want for your wedding, and if that's making the best of things by you and your husband heading off, then so be it. It's no one else's business. No one gets to tell you how you feel about things. Sorry. You didn't deserve this heart. Not the asshole. Honestly. You stayed too long. Don't take any of that BS from the family members either. Turn it around and make it them giving so few fucks about the bride and groom they didn't notice them leaving. Also make sure not to tip the DJ if you haven't paid them yet. The married couple shouldn't have to fight to get their song into the rotation. Finally, as an evil suggestion that would probably put you in the category, What do you think about getting pregnant in time to make the announcement at the best man's wedding? Never mind that last bit. Didn't notice the M&M in the OP. An adoption announcement just wouldn't be the same. Is the best man such a tight ass he hijacked your wedding to have his engagement party? Hell no. Not the asshole. I'd be fuming look of triumph. This is copypasta of a post from earlier this week. In TA they all behaved really badly towards you both. Your best man proposing to his GF at your wedding, which is supposed to be a celebration of you and your partner without asking your permission, is in extremely poor taste. He could have chosen any other time place to propose, but chose to do it at your wedding? Huge not the asshole. Not the asshole send your best man an invoice for 50 of the reception costs, including the DJ and any other services he used. He planned this so he can now pay for his share of the venue, etc. If he refuses to pay for it, sue him. He ruined your wedding reception. Not the asshole. It was your day. In hindsight it may feel different. That your moment made others feel romantic and that you and your husband snuck away to enjoy each other, the people you cared most about in the room. But in the moment and aftermath it definitely must hurt seeing how few respected your day plans and noticed you leaving, then gaslighting you about leaving? Yeah. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You and your husband both wanted to leave. Your cousin called you 3 days after. It took longer for other relatives to ask about what happened. Your best man should have asked about proposing. Not the asshole. I'm sorry that happened to you. You might have gone and had a talk with the DJ. Told him to stick with whatever the plan was for the music instead of taking requests. And announced to the guests that the wedding was returning to schedule. But I can understand why that would feel awkward. And doesn't really do away with the hurt of being ignored at your own wedding. Nope. Not at all. Someone said send him half the bill. I agree. Send him the bill. Op. Definitely not the asshole. The best man is though for sure. He should be paying for half of all your expenses. Your guests? They forgot who this day was for. They ignored all of your planned out activities, other speeches, first dance, cutting cake, etc. And then because they ignored the bride and groom, didn't notice when you left? Tacky of them. They know it too. That's why they are all defensive and blaming you. I'm sorry you two didn't have the day you deserved. I hope the ceremony you are planning is really special. You should have gotten it under control after the proposal and their one dance. You should have told DJ to follow schedule and no to other couple who tried to hijack the wedding. Not the asshole. Another fine reason we're eloping. I'm so sorry. If it was just the stupid proposal and that was the end of it, then I'd say you were being a little dramatic, but the whole reception for your nuptials turned into a group couples celebration, and the fact that they were there to celebrate you and your husband was completely forgotten by everyone. I'd have left too. I actually walked around to my family and friends who brought ones and made sure they understood it was my wife's stage tonight. Found out later a buddy had brought a ring if there had been an opportunity. Bullet dodged, so definitely not the asshole on your part. Not the asshole. I'm not interested in being lectured about how I should feel about my wedding. Definitely not the asshole. So much planning and spending to celebrate you and your partner's relationship, and not only does your best man hijack it but everyone else too by thinking it's okay? That sucks. I am so sorry you two had to experience that. Not the asshole when they get married announce you're pregnant even if not. You know what, rude and childish. Being a cheap asshole and use someone else's party and day to propose.
Am I the asshole? For yelling at my mentally handicapped cousin for cutting up all my dresses? So, recently my aunt F41 and her son M13 came home to my country from Sweden. We have a spare room where my dresses are hung since my room is a little small. They're sort of hidden away on a rack in the corner, so you have to pull them out to see them. My aunt and my cousin were going to sleep in there, which I didn't have a problem with. He's mentally handicapped, I don't really know what it is, and practically acts like a 7-year-old, which is a little annoying, but I don't blame him or anything. When I woke up in the morning it was really hot and everyone was downstairs, so I walked into the spare room to find a dress, only to find practically every single one with cuts and parts on the floor. I basically freaked out and instantly knew who it was, since my aunt and mom wouldn't do something like that. I stormed down the stairs and screamed at him, which attracted my aunt and mom to come immediately. I couldn't be calmed down at all, since I bought most of the dresses with my own money. He started crying and my aunt hugged him, trying to console him, whilst my mom started yelling at me for making him cry. He even admitted to it after a while, and even then they consoled him. My mom offered to pay for some, but it's only enough for like 10 dresses and I had over 30. Besides, I can't find some of my favorites since we're getting closer to winter, and the fact that I was proud that I paid for it myself. Some of my family, including my mom, aunt, are all telling me I'm in the wrong and to apologize to him, but I really don't think I'm wrong. Am I the asshole? Some context: I am a 16-year-old cis woman and haven't seen my aunt and cousin for a little over 2 years. We have a shared desk besides the dresses that have a few scissors here and there. I forgot about them when they came, so we didn't hide anything away. Dear Mom and Aunt, if my cousin is incapable of bearing responsibility for his behavior, then he is incapable of being left alone without parental supervision. As the adults in the situation, it is your responsibility to fully replace the property that was lost when you left someone unsupervised who you know should not be left alone. Here is a list of what was lost along with a total price. If they complain about the price, you can remind them how many hours of your life you worked for that money. Not the asshole. Aunt should pay for every single dress. Practically acts like a 7-year-old. Even a 7-year-old wouldn't do such a thing. And if he's prone on destroying things, your aunt shouldn't have left him out of her sight. So you are probably barking against the wrong tree. Make your aunt pay for your dresses. All of them. How long did she leave him unsupervised for him to destroy all your dresses? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. WTFH, wasn't someone watching him? If anything, you need to sue your aunt for destruction of property, since she clearly couldn't keep control of her destructive kid. Not the asshole. Aunt should have been watching her son. I'm sorry this happened to you. Not the asshole. I am sorry I yelled. I know he can't control himself and it's not his fault, however I will need all of my clothing replaced. Given the time taken to cut even once into 30 dresses, your cousin had been left unattended for quite some time to do that. Your aunt needs to replace the dresses and give an appropriate punishment to her son. No judgment here, as I don't know what you said to him or how long you were screaming at him for. Could be an ESH situation. Could have been NTA. Cut up her clothes. See how she likes it. I know you can't do that. I am a little grumpy. There is no way she didn't see this happen. If she claims she didn't, then she is neglectful as a parent. He obviously had access to something sharp. Your aunt should pay for the dresses. Ask your mother how she would like all her clothes cut up. Then hand your cousin a scissor and show him to her closet. Yup, still grumpy. So sorry your dresses were ruined. That was so preventable and horrible. Your mother shouldn't pay. Your aunt should pay for it. Mental handicapped or not, it's her child and she has to make sure he doesn't do things like that. I wouldn't talk to any of them as long as they don't pay for your dresses. They can have an apology the moment they have paid. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It doesn't matter that he's mentally challenged, your aunt is responsible for his behavior. Do not apologize. Not the asshole. And honestly, I think the aunt is an accessory to the crime. The dresses were fine before bedtime, and your aunt was with your cousin the whole time during the night before heading to breakfast the next morning. There's no way she didn't see him doing it at some point, unless he did it while she was asleep. Not the asshole. If he is low functioning enough to not realize it's wrong to do that, he should be under constant surveillance. Otherwise, he's just a shithead and did it knowing he'd get away with it. Either way, the assholes are your mom, aunt, and other flying monkeys. Not the asshole. Your reaction is natural and normal, no matter who did the deed. Maybe in the future, though, a little research into your cousin's special needs will help smooth relations, even if you never have such an event again. Not the asshole. Like yes, under no circumstance you should yell at kids, but op situation is very a justified rage at that moment. Do cut OP some slacks there. First Top's dresses are destroyed, then there are mom and auntie saying they are an asshole and give her like 30 embarrassment for the damaged dresses. Boys, I would go no contact at the first opportunity presented. Not the asshole. If your cousin can't be left without supervision to stop him doing things like that, then he shouldn't be left without supervision. It's not your responsibility to lock all of your things away just in case your cousin does something to your things. Also, getting mad about this is a normal reaction. Most people would be mad that their entire wardrobe had been destroyed by an unsupervised child. Not the asshole. Pretty understandable that you'd lose your temper there. You should be made whole again, doesn't matter where the money comes from. If your mother was willing to give you enough for 10 dresses, the auntie should find the money for the other 20. Not the asshole. They're telling you to be the better person because nobody wants to parent him. Too bad. Stand your ground. Nata. Your aunt should pay for every single dress. Why wasn't she watching your cousin? Not the asshole. I think you took it out on the wrong person. Yes, it would be extremely upsetting, but he should have been supervised. That's the real issue, not the poor kid that doesn't know better. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Mom of 2 disabled kids here. It's my responsibility to make sure they don't destroy things when in other people's homes. Full stop. This is why we usually opt for a hotel when visiting overnight, and when we do day visits, my wife and I and/or her mother, when possible, divide and conquer, never taking our eyes off our kids. Your aunt should replace the clothes her son destroyed. Not the asshole. Tell them that they need to replace them all, calmly and matter-of-factly. If they're taking his side and condoning his behavior on account of disability, then they need to bear that responsibility in full. Not the asshole. What he did was criminal. If he destroys property, your aunt should have watched him more closely. Tell your mother the cost of all 30 dresses and that she and her sister must work out how to reimburse you. Not the asshole. If the adults responsible for this prick are so concerned, they should have kept him under better supervision. I wouldn't let him in your home or around your things again, and you should consider a small claims suit against the mother. Not the asshole. I'm curious, did he explain why he destroyed your things? Take photos of the damage. Get them to pay you for all the clothes. I understand the pride that comes from supporting yourself. This would be devastating. It's just so cruel and unnecessary. Why would he do that? Your aunt and mother need to address it with him. If he gets away with it once, he may do it again to others where they might not be able to buy their way out of the problem. He needs to know he is in the wrong. Your aunt should be paying for every single one, not your mother only paying for 1-3. Not the asshole. They needed to be supervising him properly, not letting him vandalize your home and property. She needs to replace all of the dresses. Not the asshole, but you're mad at the wrong person. This is the adult's responsibility to prevent or make right. Also, if they're paying you back for damages, that doesn't take away from you paying for it yourself. Should have yelled at the adult responsible for him. Am I the asshole? For not giving my nephew half of my inheritance from my parents. Okay, some backstory. My brother got a girl pregnant basically right out of high school and was disowned by my parents because he wanted to stay in the kid's life instead of just paying monthly child support and going no contact. This led to him dropping out of college and working full-time to help support his girlfriend and his future kid. So recently my parents have decided to retire and move to the Bahamas, and they both left their companies to me, which are worth a good chunk of change since I was already working for them. Anyway, recently my nephew and his mom found out about this and inquired if they left their nephew anything. I told them that my parents didn't want anything to do with her or her kid and didn't leave her anything. My brother passed away 5 years ago. I thought that was all that was there to it, but she asked me if I would give her kid my brother's half of the inheritance. Some more context: my parents didn't want my brother to have anything since believe he could make good decisions as the head of a company. I told her this and I assumed that was it since she left. Unfortunately, a few days later she's been pestering me about doing the right thing and giving the kid his share of his grandparents' wealth, and has basically been being a massive nuisance. Edit: for clarity, it's not legally inheritance, I just called it that because that's basically what they did, transferred the assets I'd get when they died to me a bit early since I don't know any other similar term. Your parents are assholes. Your family sucks, and your parents are awful. Info: I'm curious about if there's any information being left out. Is there something about your nephew's mother that your parents don't like? Their reactions seem excessive. Your parents are horrible people and absolutely are assholes in this situation. Disowning their son for not being a deadbeat was bad enough. But refusing to have a relationship with their grandson after their son died is even worse. Info: your parents have retired, not died, so how can there be any inheritance? Info: did you have contact with your brother and his family after the disowning? Your parents are the assholes here for not acknowledging their grandchild and trying to make their son reject his child. Now you are following in their footsteps. I don't think I'd give her half, but I think any decent person would want their nephew to grow up without being in poverty and want a relationship with their dead sibling's child. Maybe you could pay a monthly amount for child support. Not the asshole. Your parents are for wanting your brother to abandon his son, but that's a separate story. Your brother, prior to his death, was the one responsible for creating a will estate for his child. That being said, the money your parents gave you is yours to do with. Do you have a relationship with the girlfriend, or did she just turn up out of the blue with her hand out? Would your brother want you to help provide something for his child? If so, determine what amount or you feel is appropriate. You aren't obligated to half. Perhaps create a trust to contribute towards his college or a down payment for his future home. You don't have to hand over money, but can you at least pay for the kid's schooling so he can get a decent job? I can't fathom not wanting to get to know my brother's child. Just because your parents are nasty and controlling doesn't mean you have to be. Not the asshole. Your parents are still alive. If your nephew has a problem with what he's getting, he can talk to them about it. Info: I need to know the ethnicity of your parents and your SIL to form an opinion. Editing: for you're the asshole and ESH except SIL and the nephew. So, because your brother stepped up and took care of and loved the child he created, your parents disowned and disinherited him. And now you're following their terrible example and refusing your nephew and his mother money they could certainly use, since your brother is dead. Are you a family of cartoon villains? FFS. You're the asshole. ESH except your dead brother. Like just ick, to all of you. Your parents for disowning their son for being present in his child's life. You for wanting to continue that parade, which that's say. Wow. That's a hill to continue up and die on. Pearly gates for all of you, I'd bet. Your parents suck. You can respect your brother's memory and you can choose to help your nephew and have a relationship with him. You can choose to help him financially BCS, you can give him an allowance, make a trust fund for him and generally be better than your parents and help him. Or you can be your choice, your conscience. I'm gonna say it, you're the asshole. Your parents punished your brother for doing the right thing, and you are just as big of an asshole as they are. Not the asshole, but your parents are. It seems to me that the wife found out now that she doesn't have to argue with the in-laws. She can guilt trip you out of the blue. You worked at the companies, so you get to keep them. Especially if you've had no steady contact with them. If you want to give him a job or not, that's up to you, but giving up half is a crazy ask. So, I think this is the rare yes but not necessarily wrong. As others have pointed out, there's no obligation to share any inheritance money. But is there a moral duty? Probably. What's legal, ethical and moral are often separate matters. Who needs enemies if they have a family like OP and their parents? Your family is really allergic to doing the right thing, eh? Your brother was the only decent one among you. You're the asshole, you and your parents. You're the asshole. Your brother did nothing wrong but step up and be the parent he should be. You've followed in your parents' point of view. I honestly don't understand how you could share this view. You've been handed a job and now a company. I'm not saying you should give half, but yes, you should give something, a helping hand, a job, something. Do you have to give your nephew some inheritance? Legally, no. The money is yours to do with what you will. Would it be the kind, moral, decent thing to do? Yes. Being legally correct and still being an are not mutually exclusive. Your brother sounds like a very good person. I am sorry that you all have to miss him so early. It is fine if your parents leave you the business while they are alive. It is not an inheritance, it is business succession. That said, it is horrible that your parents disowned your brother for doing the right thing. You could tell the mother of your nephew that you didn't inherit anything, but when the time is there, you agree with her that your nephew should get your brother's share of what is left of the estate of your parents, and that you hope your parents will do the right thing there. You and your parents are awful people. I would be ashamed to be related to any of you three. Inheritance is usually divvied up upon death, not retirement. And when your parents do die, the grandson-nephew can contest the will. Edited to add. Your parents don't sound like very nice people. Your parents are TA in this. So their son is dead. He had a son and the dumbass parents disowned the son because son wanted to be a good parent and stay in his child's life. The only good people from this family are the deceased son, grandchild and the mother of the grandchild. OP and his parents are trash. I know legally you don't have to, but morally you should. You're the asshole. You suck. You and your parents are. How they produced a decent guy like your brother is a mystery to us all. Not the asshole. It seems like you got the money because you worked at their company. People saying your parents are are also wrong and entitled because people can choose whoever they want to give their money to. You are only following your parents' wishes with their money. Not the asshole. That being said, you could always set up an educational account that pays for some kind of schooling for your nephew. You could always set it up that he must remain child-free until the education is complete to get the money or something like that. You and your parents sound like bad people. Not the asshole, but your parents are. They punished him for daring to do the right thing as opposed to doing what they wanted. It's not your fault, but I would say that you should take the opportunity to correct a grave wrong committed by your parents. Not half, but maybe pay for his education in full and a stipend. Frankly, help your sil out too. You can afford to be magnanimous. Your parents aren't the best. They disowned your brother for stepping up so legally. There is no share of your inheritance to give to your nephew. Depending on how the contracts was written, you might not legally be able to give them a part of what you were given. It's probably best to see a lawyer to find out your legal options, and if your parents have any further say in what happens to the companies, they might be able to take it all back and leave both their children nothing.
Am I the asshole for suspending my daughter's allowance? I have 2 children. My son who is 13 and my daughter who is 15. My wife was the one who came up with the names for our kids, as I never had strong opinions on a baby name. My wife decided to name our son after her great-grandfather. I never questioned it and never bothered to learn more about him. Which, looking back, was probably a mistake. A few months ago, our son was at a party with his friends from baseball, and they were sharing TikToks with each other. One of the boys shared a TikTok about an almost name, basically. Like it sounds. What your parents almost named you. One of my son's friends asked about my son's names and he mentioned who he was named after. The boy decided to type the name into Google and was scrolling through results until he found something interesting. My wife's great-grandfather was a state legislator in the southern U.S. before the civil rights era. As you may have guessed from that, he was a segregationist and voted in favor of bills to maintain segregation. When we picked our son up from the party, he started to yell at us and we had to calm him down. He asked why we would name him after a bad guy like his great-grandpa. This started some arguing in the car, and when we got home later that night, we discussed it. Our son told us he talked to his friends and he was changing his name. And that was final. My wife was a bit upset. She grew up here in the South when I'm originally from a hippie little town in New England. My wife has become a lot more accepting since we met, but this was still a bit hard for her. She eventually accepted it though and moved on. We now refer to a name chosen by our son with the help of his friends. His classmates at school have started to use it, and while he's had some issues, it hasn't been terrible. One of my son's friends is a trans boy and he has had it worse. Though my son and his other friends always work on protecting the boy from bullying. My son's new name is one he's proud of and named after someone he looks up to. Recently he got some items with his new name, like a men's necklace and a sign in his room. The issue is, a few days after he got the items with his new name, which was 2 weeks ago, our daughter went and ruined them by breaking the chain on the necklace and banging his sign. Our daughter doesn't like the name change, saying her brother is just being a sensitive zoomer and something about boys being too weak these days. Our daughter has said edgy stuff like this in the past year or so, even when we condemn her. As a result of the damage, my wife and I told her we were suspending her allowance until the price of the damages were paid back. Our daughter is saying we are being unfair to her, and has apologized for what she did. My wife went on her Facebook moms group to ask for help, and most of the moms agreed we were too hard on her. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your daughter purposefully broke items that were meaningful to her younger brother because she disagreed with something that has no actual impact on her. Suspending her allowance to pay for replacements is a perfectly fair and logical consequence. At 15, she needs to understand that just apologizing doesn't make everything go away. Not the asshole, but you have dealt with the material issue but not the malice behind her behavior. Daughter breaks item. Daughter repays damage. All I see is an important life lesson. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. But you have a bigger problem. Your daughter did not come up with this stuff on her own. Unless your wife is saying this stuff behind your back. Your daughter is being fed some scary information through social media, YouTube, and/or her friends at school. You have to get to the bottom of this ASAP. Before it sticks. Not the asshole. Using her allowance to repay the items she broke and not accidentally Am I the asshole for telling my roommate it's his fault he doesn't get laid? I have been living with my roommate Simon for about a year. I'm not in a relationship, but I occasionally bring one-night stands into our flat, which Simon explicitly told me he was okay with when we moved in together. That being said, I try not to bother him with excessive noises, and any sexual activity is limited to my bedroom only. But I don't make a secret of having someone over, e.g. I offer breakfast the next morning, and sometimes Simon is already awake by the time the person leaves. Just recently, Simon has started becoming increasingly hostile towards me whenever I have someone over. He is incredibly rude and condescending to any person I hook up with, and has barged into my room in the morning, demanding I help him with something, causing my aunts to leave in a hurry. When I asked whether something was bothering him, he told me that he was fed up with guys like me stealing girls from guys like him. I asked what he meant by that, and he said that it's always players who get all the girls and he is left with nothing. He tends to stay home on the weekends, and whenever he meets up with someone, it's usually to play video games with one of his friends. So I think it's fair to say he isn't really trying to meet new people. I offered that he could come with me the next time I go if he wanted to get in contact with someone. But he turned down the idea because nice, shy guys like him don't have a chance with girls anyway. I then asked how exactly he expects to meet someone if he never goes out. He works remotely, never really leaves our flat apart from shopping, and as far as I know, doesn't do online dating. He got defensive and told me that he didn't want one of the sluts I was picking up at the club anyway, and that he wanted a girl who preferred staying at home, so he wouldn't find one in a bar either way. I told him that he should stop blaming other people for his inability to find a date when he is not giving anyone the opportunity to even meet him, and that he can't expect women to randomly find him and ask him out when there is no way for anyone to know he even exists. He called me an AH because it's easy for me to make assumptions, and that it's always FCK boys who pretend dating is so easy when they're the ones preventing the good guys from having a chance with girls. Not the asshole, you're taking all the girls he doesn't want anyway? This guy is radiating major incel energy. Not the asshole. You did good trying to get him to realize that he's in his own way of meeting new people, even though you failed. So he doesn't want you to hook up because he feels entitled to say that should be him hooking up, and not you. Then he has the nerve to say he would never choose the women you hook up with, and proceeds to spew out misogynistic vitriol towards women. It's always the people who call themselves nice guys who turn out to be the worst people. What does he want you to do if he's home all the time and never goes out? Does he want you to pick up girls at the library or grocery store and take them home like a delivery service? What is this incel nonsense? He seems like a catch. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Sounds like your roomie is one of those nice guys who are generally the freaking worst in reality. Men can't steal women from other men. Women have brains and can choose whoever they want. Tell him dating apps are a thing and a great way for introverts to meet people. I met my fiance on one, and then we realize we lived 15 minutes apart, lol. Not the asshole, your roommate is bitter because he wants to blame everyone and everything else around him for his failures, like most incels tend to do. He doesn't leave the house or make an effort. What does he expect? I'd be wary of him. It's always the self-proclaimed nice shy guys calling women sluts. And don't take him out with you. You don't want to be associated with those attitudes. Not the asshole. Get him a blow-up doll. Incel alert, revolving light, revolving light, revolving light. Not the asshole. I would reconsider living with him. His energy is going to creep out your female guests. Your roommate is toxic. You are right about it being his own fault. And you should find a new roommate. Yikes on several bikes. You've got yourself an incel of the ish type. Good on you for calling him out. Not the asshole. Get a lock for your bedroom door as his behavior will keep getting more hostile. It's your fault for getting the girls he apparently doesn't want. It's the women he apparently doesn't want fault for getting with you, the player. It's not his fault that he doesn't expend any effort to get what he apparently doesn't even know what he wants. He is the definition of the Morty meme of how nice guys think sex works with the punch card of how many times they respected women. Just tell him it's his responsibility to achieve the life he wants. If that includes women, he should get after it and not take his anger of his failures out on you. Not the asshole. And I would get the fuck out of there. He uses strong incel language. And quite a few of those people have turned into mass shooters. There are a few mass shooters literally revered in those communities. You're absolutely right in your assessment. But you're not going to be the one to change his ways. And he sounds like a fucking time bomb. As a woman, your roommate sounds scary and potentially violent. You should consider moving out before he escalates. So he's an incel. Got it. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You did nothing wrong. Your speech was true. He's weird and ridiculous when blaming other people. He is clearly jealous of you. A guy staying at home all day doesn't mean a nice guy. Not the asshole. Your roommate is throwing up a whole lot of red flags. Slut shaming and fuckboys. Complaining nice shy guys don't get the girls. Taking possession and blaming others for stealing girls. Probably only a bit away until he is fully shifted into the chauvinistic women or property bigotry. Not the asshole. Direct him to our nice guys and make him realize how much his attitude is hated by both men and women. X200B. You did more than you were expected to by offering to help him find someone. You having ONSs isn't even taking them out of the pool of single people. He's just salty that you're getting attention and he isn't. End of story. X200B. Few incels going around downvoting religiously. Not the asshole. You're having one night stands, but that's somehow taking away his opportunity to date girls? If he was really not interested in sluts or one-nighters, then he'd have no reason to be jealous of you. But clearly he is. He just can't get any BC. He's a bitter incel that no one wants. He's certainly no nice guy and women can see through that. Feel free to tell him any of that as additions to why he's single and bitter. Not the asshole, and he's not nice. Nice people don't have to constantly tell everyone how nice they are. And they certainly don't barge in on people like he does to you. Or go on gross rants about women being stolen as if they are action figures, not autonomous human beings with choice in who they date or sleep with. Honestly, I'd look for a new place or ask him to move out. He sounds awful to live with, like he's only going to be happy if he can make you as miserable as he is, and screw that, you deserve to be happy. Not the asshole. The only person stopping him being attractive to women is himself with his stink attitude. Honestly, every guy the first ever been chatted up by that says they're a nice guy has always turned out to be creepy. Lol at the stubbornness and victimization of incels. This guy is a clown and a lost cause. I hope he never gets his hands on a woman. Leave, because he's going to scare away any company you have, and he's starting to use hello. I might turn scary language. Are a lot of homebody women looking for dudes? None of them I know are. I think they're mostly looking for more cats. Not the asshole.